Awesome Rider Reviews.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with a review of the Retrofire series Zeo Megazord from the Power Rangers Samurai line. We're going to take a brief look at the packaging and then dive right in. Same as the last two releases, we got the Samurai logo up here, obligatory flicking and such. So it's Retrofire series. Here's where the figure is. At the bottom we got a Power Rangers Zeo logo here. It says Collector's Edition and then it says Zeo Megazord. Coming around here, it shows the other part of the line, Mystic Force Megazord. It shows this, it says cool battle poses, thanks. And then up here, Collector's Edition again. And then here it gives this like long-winded Zeo story, which may be the longest one we've had. It's got like 2 paragraphs. I'm sorry, I'm not going to read it just because I don't want to bore you. But this part basically describes the main Zeo plot, and then this elaborates on the Gold Ranger. I have no idea why they gave it a larger description. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out of the packaging and get on with the review. Okay, so we have the figure out of the box. As usual, let's first go over the details. Here first we have the head sculpt, which is the Zeo Red Zord's helmet. Pretty nicely done. It's not the best head sculpt that's ever been done, but it's got some decent paint on it. Its eyes look kind of evil because they're red, but it's not a bad head sculpt. A little bit tiny, I don't know. It just doesn't come off as the best head sculpt out of all these from the Retrofire line. Moving down to the lion, it looks pretty good. Some nice paint here on the face. The shoulder pads are a little bit stylized, like kind of curving and bent, I don't know. And then we got the bison or the bull down here, and then the wings falling off. Which the paint isn't the greatest. It's kind of a greenish paint, but it's fine. And then you got the weirdo Zords down here for the feet, which are pretty nicely painted as well. Like, none of the paint on here is terrible by any means. And then on the back, as I showed you, or you saw, there's wings here for the Zeo Zord number 5, I'm sorry. Anyway, they're kind of a pain to put on. As you can see, there's 2 pegs and 2 holes. And at least with mine, you really have to force it in. And then when it does, if you try to like move these at all, they pop off. So like they look neat, but it's really kind of a hindrance. So I'm going to take it off for the articulation portion. And before I get to that, just to show you, he gets the Megazord saber here, which will come out, and it's all gray. Some nice sculpting details here. As you can see, you got like the Zeo symbol there. But it's all gray in tradition of Bandai of America's PR line, which is disappointing considering that they fully paint all of their Ben 10 figures. Even the weapons that are gray, they add the details in. Anyway, articulation-wise, starting up with the head, you got 360 movement around here, up and down slightly. You got like a sort of like 360 joint around here, and this can move up and down. No elbow bending joint here, which is really kind of frustrating. His hands don't swivel either here unless it's just really stiff, but I don't believe they do. Swiveling at the waist here. Nice 360 leg joint. It's a little bit hindered by this part here, but then he's got a single knee joint, and the foot moves actually, which is nice. Same for this side with articulation of the arm and this part, 360 up and down, but no elbow joint. And it makes it look really awkward. This one does swivel here. It's just kind of disappointing, to be honest. Like, let me put the wings back on. Like, this, it's a neat that we had this release. Like, most of the releases have been of more recent mech, except for, the MMPR original Megazord. But this was like a nice surprise to find out they were making this figure in particular. As like an old school fan, as great as the shows weren't, they're nostalgic, and the Zeo Megazord was always neat. It's just an overall disappointing release for me, to be honest. Like, without getting too nitpicky or like whiny about it, it's just the articulation is off. I'm pretty sure this was a remold of something, or using the base for another one of the Retrofires. Like, no articulation in the arms, comes off looking awkward, like it just looks weird. And the wings, like, being really hard to get on and keeping them on is really kind of a pain in the ass. And like, the paint is decent, but it could be so much better, which is really frustrating. So I'm kind of disappointed with this figure. Like, I still enjoy it, and it's neat to have a semi-posable figure of this scale. It's just kind of a disappointment. Now, personally, unless you're a huge Zeo fan, I would maybe pass on this, because right now Bandai of Japan is making the Super Robot Chogokin line, and while they're sort of focusing on more current ones because of Gokaiger, with the exception of the Sun Vulcan Robo, there's a good chance we'll get all of the mecha at some point, or at least the main mecha. So I might hold out for that. This is just kind of a disappointment. I'm really kind of sad by this because I was rather looking forward to this figure. So anyway, just pick this up if you're an absolute Zeo fan. Otherwise, pick up another Retrofire that's better. So until next time, check out the Toku podcast at writersrangersrambles.com, and while you're there, check out the Toku news in the craziest way possible. I'm sorry. And of course, while you're there, head over to the Ramboards to discuss Power Rangers Zeo, anything else Toku or other nerd related. So until next time, it's Dawson Ryder signing out.